Hello and welcome to a Risk of Rain 2 video. Today we had a very strong run. There's nothing too crazy, but it's all thanks to one single item, Plasma Shrimp. If this item did not carry us, I don't know what did. Plasma Shrimp plus Void Fiend plus some other items like Tesla Coil performed really well, as you're about to see. That being said, this run definitely was not always easy. At times we would be steamrolling bosses in entire stages, but other times we did not get so lucky. The last point in this run was the true false sun fight, which was close to say the least. Luckily we had some items that kept us alive, but other than that we would have been toast. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I picked Void Fiend today for two big reasons. One, he's one of my favorite characters for sure. His unique kit and skills, along with his passive that lets him get stronger as he picks up more void items, it just stood out to me as pretty unique. The second reason was to grab his second mastery skin, as well as hopefully trying to unlock False Sun, since I need to fight him for the skin anyways. I've beaten False Sun before, but I did not have the Halcyon Seed with me, which is how you unlock False Sun. So I thought I might as well give it a try. We landed in the Titanic Plains, and I'm going to be completely honest, nothing too exciting happened here. We did find the Lunar Shrine so that we can go through the blue portal and maybe go to the Void. And we did get two specifically nice Void items this stage, one being the Lost Seer's Lenses, which is a very strong first item. But here's the real prize. We opened this Void Cradle to find the one and only Plasma Shrimp. This item carried our whole run. I mean, I don't even know if it carried, it's a very strong starting item that let us do a lot of things and push ourselves. So we headed on through that blue portal to get to the Bazaar Between Times. And while I was here, I did check the shop to see if there was anything useful, maybe like a gesture, or any cool portals and exits or cauldrons, but unfortunately I didn't see anything too great, so I just headed on down to the Void portal. I always try to head to the Void at least once during my run, because it's practically free items, unless you get really unlucky with the enemies and the items that they get. But as you can see, our first enemy is Jellyfish, which really isn't that bad. It can be annoying, them getting close and everything, but they really got nothing going for them. We ended up getting our Delicate Watch from this first Void Essence, and I'll be completely honest, this entire Void was not that difficult or exciting, so I'll probably show just a little bit of fun clips that showcase some of our item synergies. Here, we ended up spawning imps for our second enemy, and we see a nice little interaction between our fireworks and our Plasma Shrimp, as every time a firework hit, it would shoot off the Plasma Shrimp. Then we ended up getting a shipping request form as a green item, and it's just nice for item generation, keeps us continually getting items here. As you can see, they got a PSG, but that didn't really help them much. Took up a Soldier Syringe just because I like the extra attack speed for my base form, and in Void form it gets even stronger. I spot a large chest up there before heading on to the next area. I'm trying to save it there in case I get a Sail Star on the stage, just to double the items we can get from that chest. Spawning a Beetle Guard next is a little scary, but I really wasn't too worried. For this green item, we ended up getting a Prayer Bee, which is a very nice item because the stored XP gives you some pretty nice stats. It's just eventually we would have to find a scrapper. The enemies end up getting Ukulele here, which doesn't matter too much since they do have to hit me for it to proc, and I don't even have any allies for it to really matter. But in reward, I get my own Ukulele. I did pass up another Plasma Shrimp through that ATG, but Ukulele gets really strong with Plasma Shrimp late game. If I picked up a Poly Loot, it'd get even better. The final enemy that spawns for them is a Stone Golem, and at this point I would really only be worried if I saw Soulless Probes, Mushrooms, even Alloy Vultures or Brass Contraptions, but even still their items aren't that great. I got a Red Whip, which is nice for the movement speed, and in our final zone, the last green item is a Chrono Bobble, which once again is an on-hit, and it's just a very bad item in general, so their items are just very bad in this cycle. We get a Gorge Tome here just to hopefully speed up how fast I can open chests on the future stages. And their final red item is an electric boomerang, which once again is an on-hit, and none of them can really get close to me. If there was soulless probes, it would be pretty concerning with that electric boomerang proccing pretty frequently. Here, I have a choice between a Behemoth, Dios, and Resonance. I end up taking Behemoth just because I want something more active right now. I didn't feel like I would need the Dios, as right now I'm pretty strong and nothing has been a huge threat. I go to this large chest I left from earlier, and I get another legendary in the form of a laser scope. Didn't manage to get a sales start before the end of the stage, which is unfortunate. At this point, I'm ready to leave. I get one more item in the form of Berserker's Pauldron, which is very good. It just makes it so that as I kill multiple enemies, I go into Frenzy and get even stronger for a while. As I leave the void, I make it to the abandoned aqueduct, and I immediately know that I have to watch out for pressure plates. This first spot that I go to doesn't actually have it, which is sad because it's one of the easiest ones to get the button activated. But I do find another void cradle here, which gives me a safer spaces. Very nice item for survivability and as it blocks damage every once in a while. I do find the first plate over here, and this is an unfortunate spot because there's no pots I can really get close to it. This second one though does have a pot I can roll down pretty quickly, and I make sure before I roll it just to check that there's no enemies, so I don't want to destroy it. On the first roll it almost makes it immediately, but ends up just going short, so I have to spend a little time pushing it here, and I don't know why it got so stuck after that first roll, but I thought this was on the button, but apparently not, and as I push it off it activated for a second, so I really don't know what happened. I get back to the first spot hoping that the pot didn't roll off, and I'm relieved to see that it didn't. I make my way to get my bands in the secret area, and as I get to the bottom, the two elite Elder Lemurians are waiting for me. I quickly take care of them just to claim my Runauds and Kiraos, and these bands will definitely help me with my damage scaling. I head to the teleporter event and get ready to fight the boss, and when I fight this Stone Titan, I quickly shred through its health. 3 or 4 hits and it was already dead. For my boss item, I got an ignition tank, which didn't do much for me right now as I didn't have gas or will-o-wisp, but when I eventually got them, it would definitely be a very strong item. Before I leave, I go ahead and grab this blast shower, as now that I have the bands, this is a very good item to have to reset the cooldown. I head back to the Bazaar Between Time, and when I get there, I'm met with 3 Gestures of the Drowned with no rolls. I was very surprised, but this already makes my blast shower much more powerful. So after picking up these 3, I realized I might as well go for a 4th. I mean, the odds are low, but I did end up getting it. So I might as well going for a 5th. And then I gave up because I realized I probably wouldn't get it. Once I made it to the next stage, I was met by a void cradle. And this one had Tenabobble, so I was hesitant to pick it up. But I did end up taking it just because it would increase my void meter. It would mean that I would miss out on any green scrap from any chrono bobbles, but for some reason I wasn't too upset about that. I wonder why. Nothing else really happened, so I activated the teleporter to start the boss event, where I fought these 2 Clay Dune Striders. The first one went down very quickly thanks to my bands, and then once my bands refreshed, the second one went down shortly after. For this item, I ended up getting a will-o-wisp, so my ignition tank was immediately made useful. I ended up leaving the stage and going back to the Bazaar Between Time. This time, as I got there, things weren't as great as the last shot, but I still ended up getting 2 more gestures here, which was very nice. I had to roll for them, but just 2 more gestures brings my cooldown even lower, from 7 to 5. Before I left, I made sure to dream for the Abyssal Depths, just because it has probably one of the most simple legendary guaranteed spots. It doesn't move around like some of the other ones. And I found the teleporter pretty quickly here, which is nice. Then I ran into this Elder Gilded Lemurian, and this is pre-patch, so these guys are pretty tough. So I was pretty impressed that I could take him out in just over 10 seconds, even with his crazy defense bust that they had. Here I found this big chest, and I was very, very thankful when I saw this red come out, and it turned out to be Unstable Tesla Coil. I didn't really know if it would do a lot.
at this point, but I could test it out at this combat shrine. And it didn't seem like it was doing too much. Once I turned around, I realized that it was proccing Plasma Shrimp like crazy. I kept going and eventually made my way down to the guaranteed legendary. I was trying to wait for a sales star, but I couldn't. And then I got rejuve rack. One of probably the worst reds for Void Fiend. I really don't need healing, and it actually takes me out of Void form, so I just made my way to the portal where I fought these 2 Stone Titans and ended up taking out the first very quickly, turned around to take the second, had to wait for bands to reset, but once they did, he was dead. Then, Unstable Tesla Coil turned back on, and I shredded through both that Lemurian and that brass contraption behind it. I got Predatory Instincts, which is another item that'll just further increase my strength. Headed through the teleporter and made it to Sky Meadow. Here, I made my way down and found my first sales star of the game. It's a little sad that it's past the guaranteed red at this time, but I wasn't too worried about it. Regardless, it's still a good item to have, as it'll generate more items for the rest of the run. Speaking of, I immediately used this on this large chest over here and got a razor wire and another ATG for my shrimp. I ended up spotting the teleporter here, and remember to shift it so I don't forget. And I'm tempted to just hit it now, but I do end up waiting, and my patience is almost immediately rewarded as I step on this jump pad and I'm met with a Shrine of the Mountain. This adds one more boss, but gives you an extra reward each time you hit it. And then I immediately find another, and the rule with these is you have to hit every single one you see. It's less about the rewards at that point and more just you have to hit a Shrine of the Mountain. You just have to. Before I head back to the teleporter, I end up spotting this Shrine of Chance, and I hit it twice, and this time I get a red item, Dio's best friend. I wasn't too excited with it, but I knew that it would come in handy. Even if I didn't use it, I know that just knowing that I have it would be an extra safety blanket. I spot this Shrine of Gold here, which is something I need if I want to fight True False Sun, as I'll need a Halcyon Seed from that Aurelionite to unlock False Sun. As I start up the teleporter event, I'm surprised by this overloading worm, as normally you'll see these pretty late in the game, and you can see why. It took about half of my health almost instantly. Luckily I can recover it all back with my special, but this had me a little on edge. I didn't think anything would get that close to dealing a lot of damage to me. I also wasn't killing it that quickly, but then once I launched the secondary attack, I realized I had nothing to be afraid of. Unstable Tesla Coil kicked in, took out all of those brax contraptions. I flew up one more time, to deliver one more blow, and I was surprised he didn't die here, but only a second later, he was dead. Here I got a Charge Perforator, a very, very strong unique item. Probably one of the best unique items in the game. It's a very strong on hit that'll just make this run even more strong. As I head out, I go through the gold portal and I arrive at the Gilded Coast, where I'm immediately met by some Stone Titans and Golems. I had pinged this Halcyon Beacon just so I would know how much money I would need to activate all 7, finish spawning Aurelionite, and take down her barrier. I had also wanted to make good use of my sales star on this stage, as there's always 4 chests that are guaranteed to spawn around the map. I head over to the first one that's behind this pillar while I'm taking out these golems, and when I get there, I open it and get a regenerating scrap. An item that's very good for item generation, as it'll give me 1 free green scrap every stage that I'm on. Once I have enough money and hit all the beacons, Aurelionite's barrier is down. I quickly rush at her, killing everything that's on the way, and her health is already down a quarter, but once I get real close and personal, she's already dead. She gets me into void form with her laser, but at that point, it's already too late. I pick up the Halcyon Seed that I need, and then head through the gold portal. Once again, I'm at first stage level. There wasn't really anything too important that happened at these first couple stages again, so I hit the Lunar Shrine. Found my shipping request form, which gave me a guillotine, which is really nice to give to some pesky elites. And then I went to start the teleporter. This time I have a Aurelionite on my side, and as I see this wandering vagrant, I quickly make short work of it. As this fight kept going, I really had no idea what Aurelionite was shooting at after she killed that Beetle Guard. She just looked into space and just started firing. I tried asking her about it, but needless to say, she was a little shy. I really don't know what happened. Oh well, that's alright. After the teleporter ended, I went through the blue portal. Back to the bazaar one more time, where I didn't get any great rolls. I passed up on this hard light, but the most important thing was I dreamed into the alt path required to get to the false sun fight. I didn't see any Halcyon shrines, so this is the easiest way to get onto the alt path. Once I go through, I'm then at the reformed altar, one step closer to fighting false sun. Here, I can make quick work of these elites and that beetle queen behind them. As I hit this Shrine of Chance, and it gives me yet another red item. I was really excited until I saw War Bonds. Reminder, this is pre-patch, so this item is very useless. I did manage to find a scrapper though, and I scrapped a lot of items, including my prayer beads to give me the stats. And they're definitely good stats to get. Damage, health, health regen. Everything that you get from a level up, but just from this one item. Now I had a lot more extra scrap, both white and green, and I was ready to start the teleporter event once again. As I do is another Vagrant. This time, it's even faster than the last. Deathmark procs, and then with all the plasma shrimp hits, really, really quick. Then there's this Halcyon enemy, and it also goes down very quickly. I end up scrapping both my War Bonds and my Rejuve Rack, both of which are items that just aren't going to cut it for the rest of the run. I'm hoping that the red scrap I get from this is going to be good for the soups that we'll see at the end of the run. It was at this point that I finally noticed my boss item for this stage was actually another prayer beads. So by not picking it up at the start of the teleporter event, I kind of missed out on a little bit of XP stored, but it really wasn't a big deal. I did end up scrapping it early though, as I wouldn't know when I would see another scrapper. I thought it would just be best to scrap right now. Once the event cleared, I went on through the next green portal to bring me to the next green stage, and I was immediately met by this rusted lockbox with 2 red items. Of course, I was a little distracted by this boss shooting at me, but it ended up being an Aegis and a Soulbound Catalyst. Both of these items are extremely good right now. Soulbound will almost constantly reset my blast shower after every kill I get, which will then reset my bands, which will probably get me more kills. Aegis has a really unique synergy with Void Fiend's special. As shown here, I can just generate almost infinite bearer, as now that I have above 25% meter, I can constantly use my special. At the start of this teleporter, these 2 Clay Dune Shredders go down very quickly. The first is already dead, and the second dies quickly after. For my boss drop, I get a Hopo Feather. An extra jump is always nice, and any movement will help me at this point. Before I leave, I open this chest and find one more ATG, which is just one more shrimp for me. Then, I'm ready to leave through the portal. Not the celestial portal. At this point, that would be a massive waste of time. I'm here for the green portal. After all, I'm here for one thing: to fight false sun. Here we are. The Prime Meridian, the final step. I know the fight will be hard, but I'm ready. I start making my climb and pick up this regenerating scrap. It's not much, but hopefully if our red items are good at the top, I can use it there. As I get to the final jump, I'm very happy to see one of my favorite red items in the game, Sonorous Whispers. Unfortunately, it doesn't do too much for me right now as we're stopping with False Sun, but if I were to loop, this would be a great get. Even more unfortunate is my only common item that I can turn my red scrap into is Rusted Key, which does absolutely nothing. I end up taking another regenerating scrap just so I can get one more Sonorous Whisper, even though, once again, it doesn't matter. I just really like that item. But now we're here, the last jump in the game. I top off my health and get ready to go. This is it. Win or lose, it's been a pretty good run, but there's just one thing left for us to do. Me versus False Sun. And only one of us can make it out. At the start of the fight, I run in to try to do as much damage as possible before he starts doing any bigger attacks. He's already down to half health and I haven't taken any damage, but he almost knocks me off. I managed to stay up and almost take him out. As I transform, First phase looks like it's already done. I break this pillar just to gain a little bit of my barrier back, and I pick up this chronic expansion that he dropped because of Sunner's Whispers. So I guess it's paying off after all. I keep up the pressure and break his second phase down just as quickly. I was getting pretty confident here, but as it turns out that was my first mistake. False Sun steals a Rally Knight from me, as well as my abilities, and I have to break this pillar to get some of them back. I only have them for a little bit, so I have to keep being careful, but then False Sun starts to charge his laser. I quickly try to dip behind cover, but it's too late. Unless, I thought it was over, but I remembered. That Dios I picked up early in the run, it's finally paid off. I try to create a little more distance between me and False Sun, just so that nothing bad happens again. I get just a little bit more of my health back, before trying to pick some damage off on Aurelia Knight. She starts charging her laser and I dip behind this pillar, but then I get scared of one of False Sun's attack and try to escape. False Sun tries to close the distance, but I once again back out a little bit. I thought it was going great, but then Catastrophe struck. I pushed in to try to deliver the final blow, but my abilities were taken from me once again. I had to run over across while Aurelia Knight charged her laser without any of my abilities to save me. I get them back, along with a little bit more health, and I realize this is my only chance. I can't recover health from my special, so I have to push through. And then, that's it. I did it. This was a much closer fight than I would have hoped. And as a reward, I get a bison steak. And a Titanic Neural that's wedged into this pillar. I realized I could have made this run go further. After this, taking it to Mithrix and then to Voidling. But at this point, it was getting pretty late. So I decided just to end it there. That being said, this was still a great run. And if you're at this point in the video, I just want to thank you so much for watching. I've been working on this video for the past 4 months, but I just got so caught up with my classes that I really didn't have time to work on this. I wasn't even really sure if I wanted to finish editing this video. When the patch came out, everything changed, but I decided it was worth a shot. So, if you've gotten this far and you enjoyed, please consider liking and maybe even subscribing. You could even drop me a comment letting me know what you enjoyed, or if you want to see more like this. I really do want to grow this channel, and if you did actually make it this far, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.